Imagine this. You are standing in a place where the earth beneath your feet is alive and breathing. Underneath massive glaciers stretching all the way to the horizon, rivers of molten lava flow. Boiling water erupts from the depths of the earth. What if this place were both paradise and hell, a dream and a nightmare? Yes, of course. I am talking about Iceland. Its nickname, the Lord of Fire and Ice. Right in the middle of the ocean, surrounded by snow, ice, and fire, it is a tiny country with mind-blowing stories to tell. With both its mesmerizing and occasionally frightening sides, it is definitely not of this world. This is a Viking island, a secluded and lonely island nation in the middle of cold seas. The discovery of Iceland began when brave explorers accidentally stumbled upon it. However, the first person to set sail there intentionally was Floki, whom you might fondly remember from the hit series Vikings. A renowned Viking, Hrafna Floki, stayed there for an entire winter and is the very person who gave the island its current name. Later on, particularly around 874 AD, the first settlers from Norway began stepping foot onto these wild lands. Even today, you can clearly feel the traces of that Viking culture running through the veins of the island. With a population approaching 400,000, Iceland is one of the most sparsely populated places on Earth. And perhaps its most surprising fact is this: there is no military in the country. You heard that right. The country has no standing armed forces. Being recognized as one of the safest nations in the world, Iceland simply has no need for one. There are no guard booths or giant barbed wire fences around the Prime Minister's residence. In fact, Iceland is the only NATO member country without an army. Even police officers do not carry firearms during routine duties. So much so that locals often joke about policing being a boring job because there is practically nothing to do. The total number of inmates in the country's prisons hovers around just 100 to 130. In a society where a significant portion of the population legally owns hunting rifles due to their hunting culture, the crime rate being practically zero really makes you think. According to the Global Peace Index, Iceland is consistently chosen as the most peaceful place on Earth year after year. To ensure that young people stay happy and energetic, the state literally supports every kind of extreme sport and social activity to the fullest. It is one of the top destinations for adrenaline-pumping activities. Families even sign written commitments to their children regarding certain rules. These include the mandatory requirement to spend quality time together. In fact, strict state policies are enforced to protect the social harmony and psychology of the youth. The result: today, Icelandic youth are considered the most harmonious, athletic, and optimistic youth in Europe. The education system is so robust that it ranks among the highest in the world for literacy rates. They break world records when it comes to the number of books and magazines published per capita. The government provides special financial support to families so that every child can engage in artistic or sporting activities after school. Because of this, they have succeeded in becoming one of the healthiest and most athletic societies in Europe. Even in massive organizations like international football tournaments, this powerhouse of a nation, with a population of 400,000, can pull off results that give much larger countries a run for their money. It might sound very interesting, but Iceland does not have traditional fixed last names as we know them. Children take the name of their father or mother. For example, if your name is John and your father's name is Donald, your last name becomes Donaldson. Everyone from prime ministers to members of parliament is known by this system, and you can transparently look up almost anyone's phone number in the directory. Another shocking sight is this. Don't be surprised if you see babies sleeping entirely alone in strollers, outside in -5-degree weather, right by a cafe window. While their mothers enjoy a hot coffee inside with friends, they leave their babies outside to sleep in clean, pure air. This is not a new trend, but a healthy tradition that has lasted for centuries. Icelandic traditions are a completely unique cultural blend of pagan beliefs left over from Viking culture and Christianity. While the majority of the population appears Christian on paper, pagan beliefs and a culture of deep respect for nature are spreading rapidly, especially among the younger generation. Christianity and ancient pagan mythology are so intertwined that a surprising portion of the population believes in elves and dwarves, known as the hidden folk. This is not just a fairy tale. You can see tiny wooden houses built for these supernatural beings in many people's yards. In fact, during road construction projects, the routes are actually diverted to avoid disturbing elf rocks or sacred stones. When moving into a new house, bread and salt are brought first to bring wealth and prosperity. However, knives are never given as gifts because it is believed they will cut the friendship. This country is an absolute visual paradise. A large part of Iceland is volcanic, with hundreds of active and dormant volcanoes. Ironically, many of these ready-to-erupt giant volcanoes are given female names. There are a whopping 10,000 waterfalls in this tiny country. Thanks to both these magnificent waterfalls and underground hot water springs, almost 100% of Iceland's electricity and heating energy is obtained from renewable geothermal sources. No fossil fuels that harm nature, like coal power plants, are used. Because of this, they truly deserve the title of having the cleanest air, the purest water, and the most flawless environment in the world. You can run into hot spring pools at almost every turn. For Icelanders, these pools are not just places to wash up, but vital social gathering spots. They enjoy these hot springs come rain or shine. Often, they will plunge into freezing cold water and immediately jump into boiling water, shooting meters into the air to boost their body resilience. There are so many hot springs that families going out on a picnic will bury their meat or bread directly into holes they dig in the ground, cooking them entirely with geothermal steam. Because it is an island nation, the economy is based on fishing and fish products. Seafood makes up the vast majority of its exports. Due to climatic conditions, agriculture in the country is quite limited. Many fruits and vegetables, including tomatoes, are grown using greenhouse technologies or imported from abroad. Therefore, their traditional cuisine is based on top-quality meat and fish. You can taste some of the most delicious, organic meat and fish dishes in the world right here. And let us leave you with one of the craziest and most joyful geographical facts. There are no mosquitoes in Iceland. This sparsely populated island nation is home to about 1,300 species of insects. But due to the ecosystem structure and climatic balances, mosquitoes have never been able to exist here. For Icelanders sitting by a lakeside on a summer evening without having to worry about bug bites, they truly are the privileged children of nature. Weather conditions here sometimes change every 5 minutes. A blue sky in the morning can turn into a severe storm by the afternoon. However, the locals have learned so well how to read the clouds and the wind that no one gets caught off guard by these rapid changes. In a geography where the sun barely rises for weeks in the winter and never sets for months in the summer, keeping human psychology high is vital. That is precisely why the government and locals paint streets and avenues in vibrant colors. In fact, to prevent drivers from speeding and to create a cheerful awareness, some crosswalks are painted in 3D, designed to look as if they are floating in midair. Because its natural structure is so different and fantastic compared to the rest of the world, it has both hosted the filming of the world's biggest cinematic productions, like The Lord of the Rings, Interstellar, and Game of Thrones, and served as an inspiration for their imaginary worlds. If your path ever leads to Iceland, experiencing the feeling of, "I am not in this world, I am on another planet," at every moment is practically guaranteed. And at night, some of the most mesmerizing night views in the world happen here. Because Iceland is the capital of the Northern Lights. This magnificent dancing light show in the sky turns dark winter nights into a work of art. However, behind all these fairy tale-like beauties lies a very powerful reality that must not be forgotten. Deep beneath Iceland, sleeping giants, massive volcanic systems, and seismic lines still await. Recent eruptions and lava flows show a constant warning from these lands. We are not the masters of this island. We are only guests. With their cleverness in keeping the environment clean, their sensitivity in protecting nature, and most importantly, the value they place on humanity, there is so much we can learn from Iceland. Seeing people littering on the streets and polluting nature in our own countries, the environmental awareness of Icelandic society is presented to us almost like a lesson. In this flawless dance of fire and ice, in that unique country that shouldn't exist but somehow does, until we meet in new adventures. Take very good care of yourselves.